The music review for Mac Murphy. Happy 50th birthday, Mac. I'm guessing you feel younger than your age based on the career that you've mapped out. I think the music keeps people young. So, I want to read some of the comments that I jotted down. I listened to your recent album, under your persona mmcc. I might have got that wrong. Sorry, Mac. The album is Blue. The track Test had vocals repeating "This is a test." It had zany vibes, and it contrasted from the rest of the album because it had vocals and it did not have a very tense and dystopian vibe. Track 2, Eternal Return, immediately tense, like a thriller film, with fast, upbeat pace. A cello sound comes in. By the way, I'm assuming this is synthesized strings. I don't know a lot about cellos and stuff, though I've dabbled in violin. And then the frantic part comes. Let's see. Yeah, there's a cello and then a frantic part. Oh, I'm sorry, the frantic part stopped, and it's calm, gentle but eerie. Higher notes are added, and they escalate to sound frantic again. Lunar Urges, the notes are adventurous, seems like they veer into different keys. Fool's March is a nice staccato, upbeat march vibe. I like the nice momentum of the rhythm. It's got good energy. Reduction starts with bursting vibes. I'm sorry, the whole thing has bursting vibes, and it's a short piece at 50 seconds. Salamander has, I believe, some actual guitar blended with synthesized strings, and they're combined to excellent effect. Pepper Sunlight, this made me kind of realize that I'm getting vibes of Zappa's Civilization Phase 3, which I'm going to assume you're quite familiar with. The reason it's tense, or one way to describe it is feels like a dystopian, like a post-freedom, I wrote down. Let's see now. Okay, I didn't get specific on every track. So anyway, your other album that I chose to listen to is, I believe, a much earlier one, Count Macula and the Capacitors of Flux, Adult Contemporary Noise. It's not a very noisy album, but one thing I thought of is the Sonic Youth SYR improvisational type of albums. And it's a lot less tense than Blue. It's more free, and so the vibe I get is that this album represents a time with artistic freedom where Blue, to me, similarly to Civilization Phase 3, is more representative of a time with less freedom, a dystopian time. Several of the tracks are energetic because of the drums. I particularly noted a tribal drum track, a tribal sounding drum track on ACN 2. And in general, the album, it feels more like freedom. That term kept coming to mind. And it made me think of back when you were a student at Millikan and I was able to see your recital. And Freedom Vibes come to mind, and I got to see some other recitals too. I know I saw Claire Ann Jones, although hers was more old classical pieces, not modern music. And I know I saw others, but I just can't remember. But yeah, I haven't really watched any university recitals much since I moved away from Decatur, way back in like 2001. So moving to Denver, I feel like I started to get educated on politics living in the capital city that was a lot larger than Springfield. Anyway, yeah, it reminded me what an education it was to be around Millikan, that was such a fine arts college. So I got really energetic vibes from the earlier album. That one feels better, but the latter album feels more appropriate for our modern time, which is unfortunately more dystopian. It feels a lot less free, and I'd have to say bleak describes the feeling of the modern day, unfortunately. Anyway, we got Ween, we got Bob Marley. Shout out to Shani Goss for the Bob Marley piece. And then back in the corner, we got a Picasso. The Mexican doll is actually painted by Serena from the Peace Center, but she signed it Picasso. We got meat puppets hanging out in the corner. We got a little Vic Duncan painting over against on the other wall. Let's see. So the synthesizer stuff makes me want to give a shout out to some of my synth friends. They don't sound anything similar, but I got to shout out Worm, Acid Bat, Liquid Pizza, and Worm is also making newer music under the moniker Neuroglitch. I got to shout out Raven Chacon, who's an incredibly diverse, incredibly accomplished experimental musician. That's all that comes to mind right now. But anyway, a very happy birthday, and I'm glad that Robin made this awesome suggestion so that I could really give a good listen to your music. And now I've listened to some of your other tracks throughout your career, so I've got a good idea of what you've been doing all these years, and I hope you're doing well. Peace, blessings, y'all.